BuzzFeed. I haven't talked too much about the Duck Dynasty thing. I watched one of those episodes, I don't know, a couple of months ago or something. Maybe it was around the time that people were talking about it. I found it rather boring. Having worked in that industry, knowing plenty of people work in reality TV, it seemed to me as one of the most sort of blatantly manufactured reality shows. Hey, today your dad's going to get remarried. That's what we're going to do. You know, just sort of that type of thing. But whatever. My feelings about Duck Dynasty sort of begin and end with the notion that if you were to sneak into their homes at night and shave their beards off, the show would go away in about a week. And that's the only reason why they got their show. And look, the guy obviously, it's his prerogative, I guess, if he enjoys one body part as opposed to another for his, in terms of his sexual orientation. And, I think he clearly was sort of espousing some type of racist notion that blacks were much happier, according to him, before all these entitlements and welfare or whatever it was, which is sort of pathetic and ignorant.
Before civil rights.
Oh, before civil
rights. Make
rights.
that really clear. That's
okay.
not even like conventional Republican claptrap.
Right. I mean, the rest of the stuff that homosexuality is the same as bestiality, that qualifies him to run as a Republican presidential nominee, frankly. But and as far as I'm concerned, the reason why A&E suspends him is simply it's a business decision. The bottom line is they knew they were going to lose some advertisers. Even if a show gets high ratings, understand this about the TV business. Even when a show gets high ratings, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have advertisers. Those prison shows on, whatever, MSNBC or whatever channel they're on, they get high ratings, but nobody wants to put an ad on next to a prison show. And I'm sure there's a lot of companies out there who don't want to be associated with someone who is outwardly articulating racist attitudes. Whatever. I don't feel strongly about it one way or another. This is in for a penny, in for a pound is what A&E should take the attitude, but whatever. However, like we said in the program yesterday, the notion that a Republican or a Republican governor, Bobby Jindal, would say this is about the First Amendment, which it clearly is not. Nobody gives you a right to have a TV show. Or that they would even sort of defend this guy's racist comments sort of beyond the pale. But beyond that pale, we now have Ian Bayne, a candidate for the 11th Congressional District in Illinois, sending an email to his supporters. And this shows the dementia that is involved with the conservative movement, with the Republican Party in this country. It's one thing to have some type of nuanced conversation about this is who the reality of this guy is. Maybe it would make for an interesting conversation to see what racists, how they act on their TV show, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. It's another to send out an email that says, I'm going to quote from it. In December 1955, Rosa Parks took stand against an unjust societal persecution of black people. And in December 2013, Phil Robertson took a stand against the persecution of Christians. What?
What are you talking about?
What Rosa Parks did was courageous. What Mr. Robertson did was courageous too.
Wow.
In the email, he goes on to say, Parks was famous for refusing to give up her seat bus for a white person, as with the rule of her day. What Mr. Robertson did was courageous too. This is demented. This is not unlike Rick Santorum comparing his fight against Obamacare with Mandela's fight. This is the functional equivalent of saying, hey, Rosa Parks, if she wore pants at any time, she would put them on one leg at a time. So too does the Duck Dynasty racist. They're the same.
Don't leave out the email subject header.
What's that?
Duck Dynasty star is Rosa Parks of our generation.
Do you know how insane you have to be, or moronic, or disingenuous, or filled with some delusions of oppression to write something like this? It's just insanity, and they embrace it. So yes, I say let the freaks go on TV. In fact, not only let them go on TV, next time, let's hear the Duck Dynasty thoughts on their own TV show about what they think about black people and gay people and Jews, for that matter, and anybody else they want to opine about. Let's see what happens to the ad sales of the companies that don't want to be associated with this because it's bad for their business. And let's just see, in fact, let's get this guy running for Congress and put him on the show so we can talk about how they're just like Rosa Parks. Oh my God, hanging out with you Duck Dynasty guys must have been just what it was like when we were when they were marching in Alabama. Let them have each other. The more exposure these types of people get, the insanity of these people, the better for America. Because you can see how demented and regressive these people are.